We're joined by Richard Foulds, Associate Professor, Department of Biomedical Engineering, New Jersey Institute of Technology. Good to see you, Richard.
Thank you very much for having me.
Describe the field of biomedical engineering. What is it?
It's probably the fastest growing field of engineering in the country.
What is it?
It's the application of engineering to address the problems that people have as they age, as they become ill, and providing all of the technologies that underlie all of the medical practice and the medical advances in the country.
For example?
Well, you can talk about new robotic devices that I work on that are aimed at restoring movement to people or assisting in rehabilitation of people. You can talk about new heart...
Stay on that. Stay on the first one.
Sure.
I was up at Kessler Foundation and I saw what's called the Exoskeleton.
Yeah, exoskeleton, yes.
That is it. Those are robots.
Those are robots, and that is exactly what we're working on.
What is that for people? Because I was blown away when I saw it, so
Yep.
tell us what that is.
Well, the Exo is a commercial exoskeleton that was designed originally to replace the leg movements that are not there in people who are paralyzed due to a spinal cord injury. People who are paralyzed from the waist down, have no motor control, so they can use the exoskeleton to give them motorized assistance. There are 4 companies that are producing these robots. They're very, very good robots. Kessler, actually, I believe, has 3 of them. We're working closely with Kessler, looking at what it would take to build a better device.
That's the role of NJIT.
That is NJIT's role. So our partnership with Kessler in our research is to work with the Kessler personnel who are absolutely phenomenally well-versed in what it takes to make a device useful to people. They have an amazing collection of users who have experience with these commercial devices, and they are very open and honest, and they can talk to us about what they like, what they don't like, what they wish the devices could do. And our job as engineers is to take their wishes and think about ways to make an exoskeleton that's more natural to use, that is easier to use, that meets their daily needs.
That's biomedical engineering.
That's one aspect.
How'd you get into this?
I was an undergraduate student looking for a reason to do engineering. I assumed I'd go off into industry, and I had this rare opportunity of being sent to a chronic care hospital, to a cerebral palsy clinic down in the basement. My advisor couldn't go, so he sent me. This is up in Lawrence, Massachusetts. And the therapist greeted me. I went down into the basement, sat with a group of 6 little boys sitting in wheelchairs. They couldn't speak to me. They didn't have very good posture. They didn't have control of their arms. And the therapist left me alone with them, as if I were going to do something. So I had no idea what to do, so I ad-libbed. I started telling them jokes. The amazing thing was they laughed. Not ha-ha as you just laughed. They laughed with their eyes. They let me know that what was going on in their brain was far more complex than most people gave them credit for. Back then, 40 years ago, it was generally assumed if you didn't have speech, you didn't have intelligence. These kids didn't have speech, but they surely had intelligence.
Why did you see that?
Why did I see that?
Yeah.
I could see it just in their eyes. You can tell when somebody is paying attention to you. You can honestly look at somebody and without any other facial expression, you can see in their eyes that they're processing what you're saying, that they understand the subtleties of what you're saying. And I was talking to 6-year-olds with corny jokes, and they were responding, and they understood it. And so we started building a communication device. It became a project for my undergraduate capstone design. It became a master's thesis for me. And even though I had jobs in industry when I graduated, I went to work for a hospital, continuing the same line of work.
What did you develop?
It was something called the Tufts Interactive Communicator, named after the university. It never went into manufacture, but its concepts have been embodied in dozens of other products. And that whole industry now is a thriving industry. I find it amazing to go into a shopping mall and see a kid in a wheelchair with an electronic communication device, having an independent life, being able to stop and have a conversation with somebody. It's coming out of the computer, not out of the kid's mouth, but it's the kid's thoughts.
And that was the original, that was a piece of what you helped to create.
Yes, yes. So I can very proudly look back on the beginning of my career and say that I actually accomplished something very early on that assisted folks in achieving what they want to achieve in life. One of those young boys went on and got his degree at Boston University using communication technology that was probably more advanced, smaller, less expensive than the thing that I built. But what I had done was to give him the first start.
Beyond exoskeletons that you talked about, that work, Give us another example.
Well, in terms of biomedical engineering,
Yeah. The work that you're doing right now.
the work that we're doing, we are also working on a different kind of robotic device, one for upper extremity use, not for walking, but for arm use. And the particular population we are working with is the group of kids with muscular dystrophy. And I had no idea, I honestly had no experience with muscular dystrophy until a prospective student came and interviewed for our department. And she came into my lab and said, have you ever dealt with this population? Because this is where I want to spend my life. And she really inspired me and convinced me that we should get involved in this area. So we developed a small grant proposal. We brought her into the lab as a grad student. And she's working on devices that will restore arm function, arm movements, to young boys, 15, 16 years old, with muscular dystrophy, who have lost enough strength in their limbs so they can't overcome gravity. If you see them sitting, they'll sit with their arms on their lap or their arms on the table, and they can't lift their hands to their mouth. What we're working on now is a robotic device that will sense their intentions and will allow them complete or near complete range of motion for maybe 2, 3, 5 years beyond where they normally would have it. And my feeling in this is if we can take a teenage kid who has to go into a fast food restaurant with friends and have their friends feed them, that's not necessarily something a kid will want to do. So if we can build an exoskeleton that lets the kid independently eat, independently enjoy socialization, independently go to school, turn the pages of a book, then we've really accomplished something tremendous.
Before I let you out of here, your curiosity, is it a key to your success?
Absolutely. I love teaching because it allows me to learn. I learn as much when I teach a course as my students do. I never teach a course the same way twice. I add new things, I take things out. I offer to teach new courses because it's something I would like to learn about. And the technology that I'm dealing with today wasn't around 5 or 6 years ago. The job that I have wasn't around 40 years ago when I started. I think that I will always be doing something new.
You're making a difference every day. Richard Foulds, Associate Professor, Department of Biomedical Engineering, New Jersey Institute of Technology. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The preceding program has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence, and 13 for WNET, NJTV, and WHYY. Funding for this edition of Caucus New Jersey has been provided by MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, New Jersey Resources, NJM, the Fidelco Group, the Russell Berry Foundation, Adler Aphasia Center, and by Kessler Foundation. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area. Caucus New Jersey has been produced in partnership with TriStar Studios.